welcome everybody back to the Inside Our Galaxy podcast. I'm your host, Eric Hernandez. As always, we got to talk about our last game, which resulted in a 4-2 loss against LAFC. We dropped 3 points away at this game. Yeah, kind of disappointed at the end. We're going to talk about it, though. We're going to give our thoughts, our opinions, everything about it. And we also got 2 previews to talk about as well. One against Minnesota, which will be at home at Dignity Hill Sports Park. And then one against Austin FC, which will be at Austin. So yeah, we got some things to talk about, some games to recap and games to preview. So yeah, I mean, let's get into it right now. With me as always is my co-host LA Galaxy Central. How you doing, man?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm doing pretty shit. Like, I had a really good Friday. I was feeling good going into the weekend. And then on Saturday morning, my European team tied a Serie B team from last season, so that wasn't great. And then the Galaxy lost the Derby. And then yesterday, the Rams lost to the 49ers. So overall for sports, it was a really rough weekend for me. But hopefully we can have a better week this time around.
I have the same thing for me, too. It was a really rough sports weekend. I mean, that's why the octopus over there is mad this time. Finally, it's mad. But yeah, I mean, sports weekend, it was terrible, dude. I mean, like you said, my Liga MX team, Chivas, they end up getting destroyed by America same day as the LAFC and Galaxy game. So yeah, they end up getting trashed. Of course, Galaxy lose against LAFC. In the NFL, you know, the Patriots lost against the Dolphins on Sunday night, so that was pretty bad too. And then the Angels are eliminated from, you know, the regular season, or won't eliminated from postseason contention. So even though that was already going to be a thing, but still disappointed. Pretty shitty sports weekend. But you know, hey, we're here to talk about part of that shitty sports weekend anyway. So I mean, yeah, I mean, let's get into it. We got to talk about this El Tráfico that happened. So like I said, we ended up losing to LAFC 4-2 at BMO Stadium. Yeah, I mean, it was a game that we knew was going to be intense. We knew that it was, you know how these games get. It's intense. It's important. It's just the atmosphere, everything, right? So, of course, it's an important game, especially with where we're at right now in the season. It's also important for LAFC and their fans as well. But yeah, I mean, it was a 4-2 loss. A bit disappointed at the end. At the end of the day, I know we kind of said that a loss was, was a big possibility, and we'd not be okay with it, but at least understand that they would lose against LAFC. But yeah, man, what are your thoughts about the game? How'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, it was disappointing. Of course, I did say last week we were probably going to lose this game, and it made sense. LAFC was on a 3-game losing streak. They're still a really good team at home. They want to come back and rebound. They want to get revenge on the Galaxy from the Rose Bowl game. So it made sense that the LAFC was going to come ready to play. And with all the limitations the Galaxy have with their roster right now, you knew it was just going to be a big struggle all night. And it really was. It was very disappointing, but I do think we competed. We did something as well, but kind of like the first El Tráfico we had back in Carson in April, I feel like just individual mistakes kind of costed us what could have been a result, and I think one was in play, but yeah, we didn't get it. I'm not surprised. I don't think this really changes how I feel about this team or any possibility we have going forward, because I did say LAFC away and Seattle away were going to be losses. I still stand by that, but now we just have to win our other games, and that's going to be a big week for us this week.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like you said, I think there were some good things that we did right. Individual mistakes happen. I mean, of course, the elephant in the room, Mavinga with that third goal. I mean, it was terrible. It was a bad just play in general, and he even admitted it on social media and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, we did some things right, but at the end of the day, we just couldn't get it going. And I said going into this game, I think offense was going to be the key. That's how these games usually are. It's pure offense. And honestly, LAFC's offense was just better than the Galaxy's. Yeah, we got a goal by Billy Sharp. You did get some an assist by Fagundes and sort of a hockey assist by Fagundes on that second goal to Yoshida. So it's like, yeah, there were some good parts on the offense, but overall LAFC just dominated on their side. I mean, in transition, that's just their style of play. They always like to play on the counter, and yeah, I mean, honestly, just LAFC just, they outplayed us. They really did. I think we got outplayed. I think we got outcoached in some parts of the game as well. But yeah, you can take some little moral victories in this game, but just, I mean, obviously there were some bad things to take away from this game as well.
Not really to make excuses, but it also doesn't help the fact that LAFC had their full strength 11 with 0 players on the injury report. Meanwhile, for the Galaxy, it's like, all right, how many stars do you have right now? It's like, we need all our guys in to compete against teams like that, and we didn't have that, and you can tell that there's some liabilities out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Calegari, who also, by the way, got, his season's done. He ended up getting surgery over the weekend as well. You were missing that. you just in general with all the new guys coming in as well. I mean, again, LAFC had their full roster. We have been working with this roster that we've had for like the past few weeks. So, of course, there was some differences with it as well, and I don't even think that's really much of an excuse. I think that's just how it is. We can't say that we don't have injuries. We can't say that we don't have our full 11 either. So it's like that's just the facts of it, right? So I don't think it's much of an excuse, but yeah, I mean, obviously those aspects of the game really did change it as well, and of course you didn't have Douglas Costa either in this game because he ended up having some injury. Everybody was wondering about that as well. So I mean, yeah, I mean, honestly, this was inevitable, but at the same time, you don't want to lose to a rival, and it sucks at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, honestly, just though, I don't know. This game was. I don't feel like. I know we just talked about our shitty sports weekends. Like this was probably the game where I felt like was the least disappointed. Disappointed. I don't know if you felt the same way, but like to me, it kind of felt like the least disappointed.
Well, my European team Napoli was down 2-0 against Genoa and they tied 2-2, so that was probably a little bit better for me that they fought back from a 2-0 deficit. But still, like yeah, I wasn't like too disappointed, but obviously against a rival, you always want to go in the mindset to win the game, and it didn't happen. They outplayed us. It is what it is, but we got to move forward with that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and honestly, I think that's just how the players look at it too. I mean, at this rate, that's how the players should look at it. It's just like not necessarily be like don't think about this game. Like obviously, you got to think about this game. It is a loss. It is going to affect you, but at the same time, it's just like where we're at. It's just whatever result we get, we just got to move from it, move on into the next game. Can't let anything drag us down at this point.
Yeah, look, actually, it was kind of funny because I have kind of your mindset like you had with the ties for this game. Like you were talking about with the ties at home, like, oh, we just got to take them. We got to move forward with it. We got to try to be all right with it. And I was like, no, we can't be all right with it. It's a tie at home. We were flat. We were not very good. It's like everyone should feel very disappointed about this. But for this El Trafico, I feel like you should have that mindset that you had earlier, that you should just move on from it because we got a really big week up ahead. And we're going to talk about that later. And we got a game in under 48 hours now, or probably a little more than 48 hours, but still, like it'll be game day in under 48 hours, and yeah, we really got to move on from that. I mean, we're not going to catch LAFC in the standings anyways. It was never a possibility, so you just got to let that one go and really try to regroup.
Yeah, and I don't even just say that for the ties. Like I just say that just in general too, like just how the Galaxy is at this point. Because it's like if you let the mental aspects, and we know how emotional this team gets, right? It's like that's the point. It's like sometimes this team gets mentally drained, and I think that's just how the mindset could be. It's just like yeah, sure, like you can say like, oh, we could have done this different, we could have won this game, but at the end of the day, you didn't. And that's just the bad part about it. You got to move on. And like you said, we got two important games this week coming up. So it's like, and in 1 week too. So it's like, then like you said, under 48 hours, it's already game day. So you just kind of just got to toss it to the side and then just move forward. Like, and even if they had a long week, even if they played till the weekend, it's like, you still got to go with that mindset of just, you know what, we lost. It was against a rival. They played better than us. And then you just got to move forward and hopefully we can catch up into the playoff spot.
Looks like those ties at home are a lot worse though. Like we were talking about, like you thought some of them were okay, some other people kind of defend them, but like now that we have to go on the road and we still have some tough road games left in the season with what, like 7 games left, like you really wanted some more points at home now. It could have put you in a better position.
I mean, definitely for sure. I mean, it is disappointing that you don't win at home. Like I agree with that, but I think also it's just like at this point, how many home games do we have left? Obviously, we have one this weekend. We have I think we have like what, like 3, 4 left the rest of the season. I could be wrong, but I honestly don't even know the number.
It's pretty funny because I just go by like a 1 or 2 game basis. I don't look at the full schedule really.
Yeah, I know. I know we have a home game this Wednesday. Then the next one's in Austin, and then I think we come back home against Portland. I know you in decision day we're at home, and then that's all I can remember unless I'm missing one. But
yeah, Salt Lake is in there, but
oh yeah, and Salt Lake. There you go. The Salt Lake one that needs to be, which is by the way a an extra game that we didn't play. So or not extra game, a game on hand. There you go. So yeah, but point is, it's like you still got some home games left, but still though, it's like that just should be the mentality. Regardless, it's like yeah, you could have gotten 3 points at home, but at the end of the day, you didn't. You just got to keep moving to the next game and see what happens. But still though, I mean, again, that's just how you have to take it again with LAFC as well, even with the loss. But yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I was a little disappointed, but at the end of the day, you just got to move on from it. Do you have any other points about the game, or do you want to move into some players?
oh, we can move on to some players now.
All right, then let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about the players. Let's talk about defense first. Of course, you had Bond in there. You had Mauricio Cuevas starting right back. Your center backs were Yoshida and Mavinga, and then you had Raheem Edwards starting at left back. So that was your starting defense. How'd you feel about the defense? Of course, they got 4 goals scored on them.
Yeah, just more of the same. The defense right now is a complete disaster, especially with the Caligari injury. That just makes it so much worse. And I mean, what kind of a defense is that when 75% of your defenders are not defensive minded players or just can't defend? Like, how is that a defense to me? It's like Edwards is always too high up the field. Always gets caught out of position and loses the ball in crucial areas. Mavinga is just, I mean, I don't even know at this point. It's just not very good. And Cuevas is always going up the field. He, again, kind of like Edwards, he gets caught out of position. He's not a very good, smart defender. So it's like, 3 out of the 4 members in your back line can't play defense. So, I mean, why are they playing defense? That's kind of my point. And it's like, I don't know what we're doing here. And I mean, if this is our back line the rest of the season, we're going to lose almost every game because every attacker on the opposing team is just going to eat these guys alive because it's easy. And yeah, I don't know. The defense just, it isn't good at all. And we saw with those clean sheets, like, you can get lucky a few times, but it looks like now our luck is just not, it's ran out now and it's going to be consistent now if we don't make some changes to it.
Definitely for sure. I mean, honestly, the only bright spot was probably Yoshida in that back line, and I'm only saying that because he scored. Of course, Marisa
And he
had
defended well. I think he
yeah, I mean,
defended well too.
he did defend it well. There was the on the fourth goal, he laid his life on the line, which on that fourth goal, but unfortunately, it was a goal, so like really kind of worthless at the end of it. But still, yeah, Yoshida was probably the highlight of the defense. Mauricio Cuevas had a very rough game, and honestly, I kind of give him a little bit of a break because, like we said last week, this is his getting his first starts, and then playing in an El Trafico is not easy to be your second game. So I mean, I'll give him that aspect, but yeah, he was rough that first half, and just wasn't good at all. Mavinga, we said the mistake, which was terrible. Mavinga very inconsistent just in general in his defending, and then Raheem at one point just like gassed and just wasn't all there. But yeah, I mean Yoshida was the only bright spot to me on that defense, and I guess Bond had some saves, but he also had some errors in that as well. Um, but anyways, yeah. Any other points about the defense, or you want to talk about midfield?
Oh, we can go on to midfield now.
All right, let's talk about the midfield. Who do we have in midfield? Of course, we had Ricky Puig, we had Uri Rosell starting, and then we had Cerrillo starting, right? Or do we had Mark Delgado starting? I actually don't remember the lineup.
Delgado.
Yeah, we had Delgado. Okay, so yeah, that was our starting midfield. So you had Roussel, you had Delgado, and you had Puig. What were your thoughts about them? How'd you feel about it?
I feel like they were just kind of average. They were not great. I think Ricky Pooch was really good. He was really fast getting on the ball, making a lot of things happen like he usually does in El Trafico. He looked out for it. But the other guys, like Delgado was pretty good actually. He looked really good. And Rosell was okay. Nothing really special, but nothing really too bad either. I think the midfield was kind of fine with LAFC. It didn't really stand out, but it wasn't the reason we lost the game either.
I don't know. I felt like Ricky Puig had a very rough game, in my opinion. Like,
Really?
I don't,
I mean, I
to
think
me,
he
I
did
think
alright.
I think he had a rough one. I felt like there was a lot of passes he couldn't really connect. I think that I saw a stat that he didn't create even a single goal scoring opportunity. Like I mean, I think he had a very rough game. I think LAFC locked him up pretty good. At least that's what from what I saw in that game.
I mean, yeah, but I kind of blame the wingers on that one because, like, I don't know. I feel like it was. I don't know. I think he played all right though. I think he did some things well. He was getting into good spaces, but yeah, the final pass wasn't exactly there.
I don't know. To me, it looked more rough than it did like his normal self. I guess. Yeah, I guess you can say that. The pieces up top weren't that great, and the wingers weren't that good. But still though, like I felt like he had a rough game. Delgado was okay. Rosell was okay. I don't think we were completely like outclassed in the midfield. I just think when it comes to the attacking part, we were very much lacking, and Puig just wasn't all there. But I think they did okay in my aspect of it, but just Puig was just off in that part of the game as well. But yeah, those were my thoughts as well. I guess we can move on into the offense as well, unless you had any other points. No? All right, let's move on to the offense. So you had Fagundes starting, you had Tyler Boyd starting, those were your wingers, and then you finally had Billy Sharp start in this game where he ended up getting a goal as well. So, yeah, I mean, there were some good aspects of the offense in this one, but how'd you feel about the offense? What'd you think about it?
I feel decent about the offense. Like the fact that we had a striker score in the starting lineup is a blessing. Like when was the last time we can say that? It's like,
Yeah.
And then Fagundes, he had that great assist to Billy Sharp on the first goal. Then he puts in that really dangerous sort of weird ball into the box that the Crepeau, the keeper, has a difficult time dealing with for our second goal, and that was good. And the last two games, Fagundes has three goal contributions. Like remember in St. Louis, like Fagundes did that cross into the box perfectly on Uri Rosel's head. He heads it across. Billy Sharp smashes it in. So, I mean, I'm starting to like Fagundes a little bit more. I think he's growing in confidence. He's doing some things well now, and yeah, you want to see Fagundes continue to grow, especially because we're getting paying him kind of a lot of money. So the fact that Fagundes is contributing now is good. And Tyler Boyd, I mean, look, you mentioned Chris Mavinga as one of our most inconsistent players. I don't think Chris Mavinga is inconsistent. I think he's bad. My definition of inconsistent is like guys like Tyler Boyd or Diego Fagundes. That's my definition of inconsistent. Where on like some days these guys can contribute like two goals or two assists each as a player, or on another day like you don't even know these guys played on the field. And I feel like that was kind of like Tyler Boyd this game. Like he didn't really do anything at all, especially like after the other El Trafico's really giving it to LAFC. This game he was just not in it really, and it was disappointing to see. But yeah, we just got to move forward with it, and yeah, hopefully we get some better offense next game and try to. Not even just better offense because we did score two goals, and I think that was more of a telling about how the offense was, unlike the St. Louis game. I think we just need to overall shake up the back line a lot.
I ain't gonna lie. I didn't hear much of it because my my headphones just turned off a bit.
It's all right,
But
yeah.
still though, I got the gist of what you're saying about the offense though. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it was, it was half and half. It wasn't really all there. I mean, we did get two goals, so that's a good thing. And like you said, we finally have a starting striker who scored. I mean, when's the last time you had that? And then honestly, it's just in general, like I mean, there were some good moments, but at the end of the day, like I said, going into this game, it was all about offense, how our offense was going to compete with LAFC. And yeah, we had some good moments, but LAFC's offense was just a lot better in this game. And, that's just how it was. I mean, sure, we had some good moments. It just didn't compare to LAFC's offense.
Yeah, so do you agree with when it comes to inconsistent players on this roster that like Tyler Boyd and Diego Fagundes are kind of like inconsistent players but can be in a really good way sort of because like I said before, like both of them are capable of either scoring like two goals or having two assists on any given match, and sometimes they do that like something great. They're the reason we win a game, and sometimes they're the reason we lose a game. Maybe that's kind of what you expect from these sort of TAM level players. It's like, yeah, they're not DPs because of DPs, even though it's not always the case with this team. It's like you always want DPs to be very consistent, very good, but with these high level TAM players, maybe you can afford to have them be a little bit inconsistent. And I feel like we're starting to see that now with Boyd and Fagundes. Like Fagundes had like basically two assists last game, and Boyd did nothing. And we saw Boyd unless El Trafico had a goal and assist, and like it kind of goes back and forth a little bit. So what do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, you can. I think they're inconsistent, but like you said though, like I guess you kind of expect that from these type of players. They're not necessarily DP. I don't even think Tyler Boyd gets paid that well because I mean, remember he was like I guess
Yeah,
like
not yet.
a trialist and stuff like that. So it's
He
like
might this off season though.
he might get paid, he might get a bonus after the season, but right now he's not. So right now he's not getting paid as much. Fagundes, yeah, he's getting paid quite a bit for what we're asking him to do, but I mean, I don't know because I think Tyler Boyd has. Yeah, I mean, I think he had a role going. Like obviously during this time where we were, not losing, I guess you can say, he was playing well. So it's not like he has been like, it's not like it's an on and off sort of situation. But I guess I don't even know if I want to say in these like important parts of the matches this is where he's not doing well because I mean he has performed in this type of games, right? Like I mean he's before this he scored in every single El Trafico so far this season. So it's like I don't know. Like I mean I get what you're saying, but at the same time it's not like it's not like a big of a problem or big of an issue if that's how I want to put it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's how I put it too. Like, it's a good gamble to have. Like, it's kind of good for like when we're going to a game too, because like, let's say like maybe not this year, but like next year we're in the playoffs. We still have these guys on our roster. We have two open DP spots. We get two really good DPs, and then all right, like next year in the playoffs, let's say we make it, then we have these three really good DPs, and then you have like these two X factors in Tyler Boyd and Diego Fagundes, and maybe they can be that spark in the playoffs that gives us that extra boost. And I think it's a good piece to have. Like right now, these pieces that are capable of stepping up, but yeah, they can be a little bit inconsistent. I think this game, like you saw, one be pretty good and the other one not be pretty good in Fagundes and Boyd.
I think maybe inconsistent is the wrong term. Maybe it could be just they're under the radar a lot, like or maybe I don't even think that's even the right term. But but even then, like I get what you're saying. It's like yeah, it's like they these guys are X factors, but at
More
the
of a
same
wild card, yeah, an X
or like
factor.
yeah, a wild card X factor, whatever you want to whichever term you want to put it. But yeah, I mean obviously these guys are good X factors and good wild cards because we know that these guys can produce. I mean, Fagundes, like you said, he's had what'd you say, 3 goal contributions so far since coming in. So I mean, that's good. Like that's not a bad thing. I mean, Tyler Boyd has had a lot of good goals. He's had the assists and things like that as well. So it's like it's like again, it's they have the numbers. Is it always there in like the crucial moments? Maybe not, but they do show up in some crucial moments as well. So it's like you can't really complain about it too much.
Yeah, but I feel like Mavinga's not in that category of player though. That's what I was trying to say a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess he's inconsistently more on the negative side. It's like I guess there is a lot more negative than there is more of the positives. I do think Mavinga has had some solid games this year, but I think a lot of people just do remember him from these sort of mistakes, where again, just basically gifting the ball to Buanga in the third goal, and like even then on the I think it was the second goal where it's just like he got caught ball watching in a sense too, right? So it's like yeah, I mean, obviously there were some moments that Mavinga could do. Like, I think a lot of people are just going to remember those moments, and they are going to remember the good moments from Mavinga. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's more inconsistent in a bad way, in a sense.
Isn't it so disappointing though? Because in both El Traficos this year, like the game was tied at one point, and then we make two massive mistakes and lose the game. Like in the one in April, it's like the game was 1-1. It was going like all right, and then Edwards does this no look throw back to Koulibaly, and Koulibaly fouls Jose Cifuentes for a penalty kick. It's like why the hell did that happen? And even this time, I think this time it was even worse because it was 2-2. I think we were playing very good. I sort of felt like in that point of the game, both teams were kind of happy with the way the game was going a little bit. Like LAFC maybe wanted to just end their losing streak, in the Galaxy were just fine with another point. I think like if that mistake had never happened, I think there's a strong chance he would have actually came out there with a point, which would have been really good. But then Mavinga, I mean, I don't even know what that was. He just hit it backwards, and it wasn't one of those where it's like, oh, you got to credit the attacker for a great read and a great hustle play. It's like he seriously just like passed it to Bouanga, and it wasn't even close to Jonathan Bond. It was horrible. I don't understand what he was doing, or at the very least, like why didn't he put it out wide? If he was gonna do that weak touch, soft touch, at least do it out wide so they have to get across and or run back into the middle. But just playing it straight into the middle is just it's horrible. He really lost the game there for us, and I mean, I know he apologized on Twitter, but honestly, I don't really want to hear that shit. To be honest, it's like I really don't care to hear that. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
don't know anymore. Like, what did you think about the Twitter thing? Like, did you just be like, "Come on, man, nobody cares about that," or did you appreciate it?
I didn't appreciate it, but I would like to say at least he acknowledged it. At least like he even said it's like like what, I'm not gonna hide from it. Like he fucked up. Like so, I mean, I guess I'll give him that, but it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh, it's okay, get him on the next one. It's like no, it's like how many times have you done these moments?
Okay, but look, I feel like that's what he
You
wants
know,
people to think, though. Like, he was kind of putting that tweet out there just because he kind of wanted for the fans to be like, oh, it's okay, you got this, you'll be fine next time, it's all good. Like, I feel like he was kind of looking for that response more than just actually, like, having his own self accountability,
but
in
to
a
be
sense, if you get
fair,
what I mean.
I will give him Mavinga his credit is that how many players have done this type of thing. You can't say that a lot of players on this roster have done that. So I'll give Mavinga that. But again, I'm not confident. I'm not going to be like, oh, it's okay, like move on. Which I think, in a sense, he should, because like I said, it's just whatever happened, just move on into the next game. But still, it's like how many moments has Mavinga had that we'd say like, yo, like you messed up. It's like yeah, you can say sorry all you want, but at the end of the day, you got to go show it on the field and say and perform better, right? So that's what I want to see. Like, sure, I'll give him Mavinga. I don't even want to say appreciation, but I'll give him his I don't know. I don't know what to say, but at least he acknowledges it. Is what I'll try to say. But
I'd rather just not hear anything, to be honest, if I'm being
all
completely
right,
honest
well,
with
fair
that.
enough. People
Yeah.
have their opinions. People want to hear the players say they're sorry. Some people just say whatever. And I will say about that pass though, I have no idea who he was even passing it to. I couldn't even tell if it was towards Yoshida or if it was towards Bond. It was just like I don't know. It was really weird. And honestly, like I don't want to give Buwanga too much credit on that either. I mean, obviously he was just like a gifted pass, but I felt like Buwanga did read it a little bit. Like he stopped and he saw that Mavinga was gonna like I don't know, pass it. Like, so he wanted to counter that pass. I don't know. It was just like, I don't want to say
Even
it was
if,
a great read, but like, Bouanga knew what he was doing in that point.
even if he didn't read it, he would still have got the ball in that point, so I don't think it really mattered.
That is true, though. I think he would have got it regardless. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just like for Mavinga, it's just, I don't know. He just needs to step it up. That's basic. And he needs to step it up. I mean, we need good defense in these next 7 games, right? And if it's
Well,
not him, then it's either Zavaleta or Faro, whoever you want to put in. Somebody needs to step up in that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about like I'm not the biggest Jalen Neal fan. I think he lacks a lot of physicality and athletic wise, but like I mean, right now when you see all our center backs, it's like we need him back. We really do,
Yeah,
especially for Caligari too.
yeah. I mean, honestly, but I mean, I ain't gonna lie with Mavinga though. There was a one point where I thought, maybe I'd would rather have Zavaleta in the defense. Like there was really some points where I thought about that, but I don't know. Somebody in the defense needs to step up because, like I said, Caligari was a our last bright spot on the defense, and then now that he's gone, it's like it's a completely new defense, and somebody needs to step it up. And although Yoshida's that leader, he is 35. He can't do everything on his own. Somebody else needs to step up.
All right, hear me out. This is what I would do with the defense actually to try to make it more balanced and just better overall. I'd probably put Julian Alde at left back permanently. Obviously, I'm like one of his biggest fans in the Galaxy community, so I guess it's just not doesn't mean much coming from me. But I'll put Alde back in the left back spot. I think he's actually more of a natural left back. He can actually defend more. He even offered something going forward when he got subbed on last game. He was getting some good crosses in the box, which you did not see before. So I would bring him back in there. I would start Tony Alfaro at center back because like why in the world would you start Mavinga after that? Obviously, I would not take out Yoshida. That would be a very bad decision. And I would go back with Leerdam in the back. He did pretty solid when he came on against LAFC. He wasn't like great, but I do think he did some things well. He was a little bit solid, and I'd stick with Bond at goal. But I just feel like with that new sort of shaped up defense, you actually have more defenders in there rather than attacking minded fullbacks, which obviously did not work out very well.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, that's always just been our style, though. It's like just have our fullbacks be part of the offense, though. So I don't know if really having these going more on the defensive side might help. But I mean, there does need to be some changes in the defense. I would agree, especially just starting with the center backs. I mean, yeah, I would take off Mavinga for next game. I would want to see how to start next game. Like, I mean, I really do. I think Raheem, like, although yeah, he had somewhat a little bit of a resurgence this part of the season. I think he's lacking now, and especially last game, I think he was really gassed and he just wasn't all there either. So it's like, yeah, I think give Auda the chance, and honestly, I would still start Cuevas. I mean, again, it's just it would be his third game to me because you got to build him up. You got to build him up. As much as he didn't play great these past two games, I would much rather have him, a younger player, which again, going into the Galaxy community saying, hey, we need younger players, we need to develop more players. Why wouldn't you have this opportunity to develop Cuevas? Even if he hasn't played that great, I would rather have him at least in for one more game.
Oh God, no! Please no Cuevas. I mean, Jalen Neal is out right now. Caligari is out right now. So our next young defender, who we're gonna try to hype up and really develop, is Julian Alde. He's gonna be kind of our next guy, who I think is good enough to play in the starting lineup right now. Please, please not Cuevas to get
But
a
yeah,
start
but
leader of
wouldn't
this
you?
game.
But Cuevas is a younger guy who's going to be here at least for more years. I don't know if Leerdam's going to be here next year. I don't know even know his contract situation. To be fair, why not pair him up with another young guy on the other side and have some leaders in the middle? I know a lot of people are going to say no, like Cuevas is bad, but at the same time, it's like you don't build up a player overnight. You got to give him minutes, and although these games are important and we need to get as much as we can, I think also just putting him in there wouldn't be bad of an idea, at least for me. And if he just plays, and even if he plays bad during the games, you have Leerdam, who's a solid choice. I think for me, you still got to keep him Cuevas and just try to build him.
Yeah, no, I'd keep Leerdam in there for defensive reasons, and then if Leerdam gets tired, we can bring on fresh energy legs and Cuevas. But I would not start Cuevas again. Please, please, no, don't do that.
I don't know. That's at least through my perspective. Again,
It's
if
fair
you're
enough.
one of those Galaxy fans who thinks we need young players and we start these young guys, I think they would be on my side. If you're
I
not,
do, but
then
they have to be good though. Like they can't just be
but you
horrible.
can't make. But again, Cuevas hasn't. This is his second game. You asked the man. You asked him to start a rivalry game at not even at home away. It's like you can't expect him to be perfect. It's like I to me like I said, to me you just got to give him some more minutes, and I think it's a good opportunity. And you know what? I'll agree. If it doesn't work out these next few games, then yeah, you gotta stop it. But to me, I think you still got to give him that chance and try to develop him.
Yeah, this is my last point though. Like we should go back to the point about sporting director Vandy because I feel like he's just messing up this team again. Like I mean, I'll go back to it a little bit. Like in 2021, we signed Villafania, he got waived. We signed Koulibaly, he got waived. We signed Williams, he got traded for nothing. We signed Cabral, we paid another team to get him. That's how bad he was. We signed Gasper, he got waived. We signed Nico, he was a disaster. We signed Mavinga, he's kind of a disaster. We signed Zavaleta, he's not very good. I mean, if you're AEG, how many times are you gonna let Vandy get away with this before it's like, all right, well, we actually need a sporting director now because the players he's bringing in just aren't it, to be honest.
I mean to be, but I will. I mean to be fair. I don't know. I mean, every I guess GM or whatever sporting director is always going to have their misses, right? Not every player they bring in is going to be perfect.
Okay, but that many though.
But I mean,
It's
still,
like
but
with the
that's
injuries
also
too.
a
It's like
span of what 3 seasons. I mean, I guess it's like it is what it is, But you can't say I don't know. It's like I guess yes, you have to bring in the right players, but at the same time, it's like Vanny could only do so much. I guess it's like
so in a sporting director.
at the end of the no, well, okay, yeah, fair enough, fair point. But at the same time, it's like the players got to go in and do what they need to do as well. Um, and even then, like I mean, you could say like, hey, like we got rid of some players that we just really didn't need in the end of the day. So it's like, sure, we may have brought them in, but at least there was a point where we just knew that hey, you just didn't, we didn't need them
Yeah,
anymore.
but if this keeps on happening, though, it's like, all right, whose problem is that now? It's the guy bringing him in, and Greg Vanney is the head of soccer operations, and he's the one trying to build his own team, bringing these signings in, and it's like a lot of them just are not working out.
Uh, Fair enough, fair enough. But again, I don't know. Could be that's more of a discussion on off season, I think. Especially with who knows if you do bring a GM or a sporting director, or let's see what happens when he works with Will Kuntz in the off season. I don't know. It is an interesting discussion, but I think that's more for the off season.
I mean, I will give Vanny this. When it comes to his starting lineup, though, I feel like he takes it very seriously. Like he brought in Caligari as a right back, who's been great. Obviously, he formed a great midfield, which unfortunately we did not get to see for the whole year because Bergman went down and Delgado kind of got injured and missed some time. And offensively, like we were pretty good. Like Tyler Boyd is good, and I mean Costa and Chicharito. I don't think were Vanny's decision. Chicharito was here before he was even the coach, and Costa just feels like it was more of an AEG kind of forcing it type of setting a little bit. So this offseason, I know we're kind of talking about the offseason a little early, but it'll be interesting to see, like, with Chris Klein gone, with Will Kuntz and Greg Vanney working together, what type of DPs they'll bring in. If they're like more of this actual DP that'll actually help this team and not just sort of a marketing type of signing.
Right. Especially with the salary cap even increasing next season,
Yeah, it might
possibly,
be
right?
three DPs actually, yeah.
Yeah. Four, no, because no, isn't it already three? Oh well, I mean you're saying three more spots
For
open. Yeah.
us, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
we have Pooch under contract as of right now, so but
Right,
we'll
right,
have
right.
two guaranteed spots, maybe three.
Yeah, right. So yeah, depending on stuff like that as well, you never know. But I don't know. I mean, again, that is. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think there's has been some questionable signings for sure going in within the Vanny era, but still though, it's like I think I don't know. It really is just I don't know. It's interesting in some aspects of it too. It's just like he's had some bad signings, but I don't think he's. I think he's had some good signings and had some at least somewhat of credible things too. So I don't know. But anyways, yeah. Where do we? What else did we left off on? Do you have any other points about the game? I think that's really still what we're talking about. No. All right then. So I guess we should move on into. Well, we didn't really have much Galaxy news because I mean I did talk about Caligari being out for the season. He ended up getting surgery, so hopefully speedy recovery, which is going to be interesting too, because of course there were some rumors or at least some reports saying that we were going to buy him from Fluminense, and that was a big possibility. So I don't know if the surgery really affects the whole deal going down, if anything like that. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts about Caligari in his future? I guess because I mean he's not gonna play for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so there's one thing I'm curious about, like, what is his injury exactly? Because I kind of forgot. Like, I looked it up and it was an ACL something injury. Like, what was it? It wasn't a torn ACL though. It was like a different type of ACL injury. I don't know if you want to look that up, but
I'll look it up right now, but I know it did have something to do with his like knee as well. Hold on.
yeah, it was kind of strange. It was like not a tear, but it was like something else where he'd have to miss significant amount of time.
Well, he got surgery on his left knee. That's all the Galaxy put. But
Yeah,
I
I know
don't know
that.
exactly what. I don't know what exactly was the injury. Um, and I don't even know where I can look that up. So, uh,
Well, it's just look up Lucas Caligari and it should appear like with the Galaxy website.
let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it should, but
Yeah,
either way, we can figure it out
It was
later.
an ACL. He had ACL reconstructive surgery.
Yeah,
So,
what is that exactly? That's not like a tear, is it?
well, I mean, I'm assuming it would be a tear because if you're gonna reconstruct the ligament, then that means it tore, right? So,
Well, they would
uh,
label it as a tear, though. No, like I remember, like when other guys got ACL injuries, they'd call it an ACL tear. Like that's what it would be labeled as, not reconstructive. So,
well, yeah,
I mean,
but
I
after
understand.
after you tear your ACL, you have to reconstruct it with surgery. So it's like, I don't know.
Well,
I'm assuming it would be a tear, but point is, Calegari is out, right? So,
Yeah.
so and obviously there's some questions about his future. So I mean, I don't know. Do you think this affects him, like us signing him, or how the deal goes down in the offseason?
Yeah, that's very strange because, like, I personally don't think it should. I think Caligari was a great player for us. He started out a little bit slow, like through March through like May, he was kind of questionable. But ever since June, really, until up to the point where he unfortunately tore his ACL or whatever ACL injury he might have picked up. I mean, he was great for us. He was one of our most consistent players, a really good right back. We talk about this Galaxy team lacking actual defenders that could defend. He was a by book definition defender, someone who really defended a lot, and he was really passionate about the club too. Like we saw him in the Cali Classico, how much it meant for him. So it's a player, truthfully, I really do want to keep around no matter the injury. I want to keep him here, try to recover, welcome him back. But yeah, I don't know if this affects it at all. Like, it's a problem too because he got an ACL injury right now. When not only does this shut him down the rest of this year, like that might affect next year too. It's like who knows when he comes back. It probably based on the injury, if it is a torn ACL, he won't even be back by the start of next season. So I mean, I don't know really. And like, are you gonna do Leerdam and Cuevas to start all of next year? It's like, do you really want to do that? I don't know really. It's a strange situation, but I would still really like to have him back.
I mean, definitely. I think a lot of people would agree that we would want him back. I only say that in the reason of the deal, it's like if you're going into negotiations, it's like how do you propose this? It's like, oh, if you're the Galaxy side, you're going to say, hey, he's injured, give him for me cheaper to sign. But then Fluminense is going to be like, well, we loaned him out to you, and you're the guys who want to, or he was injured with you guys, so give me more money or whatever the aspect of it is, right? So it's like the number's going to be interesting on how much we pay for him. I think if you look at what he's done for us, I think, yeah, like you'd say he's worth the money, even if he had a slow start. But again, the deal would be interesting. The number's going to be interesting and how each side is going to propose what that number is going to be. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I would assume he'd be back. I'm assuming the Galaxy are going to try their best to bring him back, especially for a young player for what he's done. I think it's worth the signing, even with his injury. Even if he's not ready 100% in the beginning of the season, I think he's worth the money and worth whatever he wants.
You think that injury will affect him though the rest of his career, or like a lot of years from now, or do you think he'll just kind of recover from that since he's a young player?
Obviously, when you're a young player, you don't. I don't want to say you don't feel it, but you definitely do recover at least quicker, and your body's a little bit more. Um, I mean, I guess they deal with it better when you're younger. So it's like, yeah, I think he'll. I don't think it'll affect him for the rest of his career, but definitely if he gets the right treatment and if he does everything right, I think he'll be fine. In my opinion.
Yeah, get the right treatment, right? I mean,
Yeah.
with us.
Oh well, maybe he might have to get some outside help, but or I don't know. But point is, he's got to get the right treatment and the right medical stuff that he needs to get better. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Isn't this injury like by far the worst one though? How it feels? Because like think about it, like first off, I'm gonna say like I don't want any season-ending injuries. I don't want any guys to get injured. But when you look at all our injuries, it's like, all right, Chicharito and Cáceres gone for the rest of the year. It's like, all right, they're old anyways, and they're probably gonna be off the roster when the season's done. And you see Neil, it's like, well, Neil's not really a serious injury. It's just a nagging injury they can't get right. And Brugman, yeah, Brugman's a big loss, but at the same time, he didn't really pick up like a major injury. He just got like a 3 to 4 month injury, I believe, and he should be back by next preseason for sure. So, all right, give Brugman the rest of the season off. There's not even that many more games left, anyways. But Caligari, it's like it's a really big deal because he was super important for us. Not only does this affect this rest of this year, but also going into next year, how he plays. It's like he might not even be ready to start the season next year if he does come back. And even when he does come back, it takes time to come back from those injuries. It just feels like that injury with Caligari is going to do the most damage to the Galaxy.
I think so too, but that's why I say about the whole Cuevas thing, right? It's like, you got to give this guy minutes because even if your idea is to bring Caligari back next season, and if he doesn't start next season, you're going to need a guy to step up. That's why I say give Cueva his minutes. Even if he's not that great, you give him his minutes, you develop him, he becomes a better depth piece. That's why that was my argument with Cuevas. But I mean, again, for Caligari, he's young. I think he'll be fine when he recovers, but again, he just needs to get the right treatment and hopefully, nothing happens like during his whole rehab process, right? Because obviously things happen during rehab process as well.
Yeah, last point back to the injuries though. Isn't it super disappointing with Douglas Costa? Like, all right, in St. Louis, we were up a man, and with like 10 minutes to get left in the game or something like that. I don't remember. We took Douglas Costa off, which was very disappointing because we talked about his ability to put in really dangerous crosses into the box, really dangerous balls into the box. Anything can happen with those. And we took Douglas Costa off, but like we kind of respected it because like, okay, he's coming back from an injury. We need him 100% for El Trafico, and then it turns out like he doesn't even play in El Trafico, not a single minute, and he's on the bench, and he gets yet another like little nagging injury. And when it comes to these nagging injuries, again, you got to kind of look back at the medical staff and say like, well, what is going on? How did this happen again? And kind of look at Greg Vanney too. It's like, well, you took this guy off early in a game you probably really needed him, and now he's not available for a big rivalry game. Like, what exactly is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Vanny should be the reason for injuries. I think you still got to look at the medical staff, which, by the way, a lot of people are getting very vocal about that whole negative the medical staff and trainers and sports medicine and everything like that. Because yeah, I mean, obviously, like as much as the season-ending injuries suck, I think the nagging injuries are the ones where it's like, well, why do these keep happening? It's like, if they're nagging and they're not that big of a deal, or maybe not big of a deal, but at least like they're preventable or not. How do I say it? They're not preventable, but they're treatable to a certain extent. It's like, why aren't these guys on the field yet? It's like, again, I understand these trainers are miracle workers. They can't just do some magic spell on their leg and then poof, they're they're up and ready to go. But still, though, it's like, what's going on? It's like, what are we doing that these are still happening? So it's like, I don't know. It's like, it really is. But I don't know. The injuries at this point is just, I'm kind of used to it now. I don't want to. I kind of am numb to them. It's like an injury happens. It's like, oh well. It's like this has been the story of the LA Galaxy this whole season. Like, what really much can we do other than just blame the medical staff or whatever? So it's like, I don't know, but I don't know. They need to get their shit together though, for sure. And and for Calegari, hopefully he's all right, and we get a deal done, and he's back here next season, and he's healthy. So that's all I can say for my last points on Calegari. And I think that was really much it for the Galaxy news. I don't think I really missed much either for that. So, but any other points you want to talk about or for that? No, you're good. All right then. Let's talk about our previews then. So let's talk about Wednesday, which we're going up against Minnesota at home at Dignity Health Sports Park. Minnesota, at first they were, they're really good team. They're consistent. They've been good for the past few years as well. They had a big question mark with Reynoso, and they end up getting him back, and then Minnesota just happens to be like at least a better team once he came back in, and they've I don't want to say they've been tearing it up, but they've definitely been much better with Reynoso. He's been a bigger piece for Minnesota, but yeah, I mean, of course, Minnesota is going to be a tough challenge. Even at home, they always kind of give us those games where it's just troubling. But how do you feel about going up against Minnesota?
Yeah, so I mean, this week is the most important week of the season for sure. This is the last chance for the Galaxy. We play two teams, and two teams that are on the verge of playoff spots. Austin FC, who we're going to talk about after this, they're in 12th place right now, 3 points ahead of us. And Minnesota, they're in 8th place right now, 7 points ahead of us. And we have a game in hand on both of them. So, I mean, this week is pre-playoff matches before actual playoff matches, really. Like, if you lose these games, it's like those teams are getting in, you're not. So, I mean, I'm just going to start that off right there. This is a very important weekend. Yeah, Minnesota at home, it's absolutely a must-win game for sure, no doubt about it. No ties, no good ties, none of that. It's like you really have to win this game at home. You have to come out with more intensity, ready to play, firing on all cylinders. It's a must-win game, no doubt. I mean, both of these games I think are must-win games, but especially the one at home, it has to be a must-win game.
100%. But at home against Minnesota has to be a must win. You can't drop any more points at home. As much as like I say, the whole mentality, whatever happens, you just got to move on, keep moving from it. I think this one is just like very important. Two very important games, and like you said, these guys are in a playoff spot, and then Austin is fighting for a playoff spot, which again we'll talk about in a bit. But still, though, you got to get points off of here. You got to, because this is one where we could maybe see some movement. I don't think entirely, but because I think if let's say Austin loses on Wednesday, we only tie with them if we win. So it's like, but still though, it's like that this is an important matchup. If we want to see some movement, it's this week. But in order to see some movement, we got to really play our best, and we got to get these 3 points. Both games are really must win, but this one at home, definitely a must win. And even though we've had some injuries and things like that, somebody needs to step up. Somebody needs to be prepared. And, even tactically, I think Greg Vanney needs to step up in this game. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's important. It's a must win.
Yeah, I mean, look, no tie is good in this context. Like I said before, like at home, you should never play for ties. Ties are never really good at home, especially when we're at right now. Like if we were like in fourth, fifth place in the table right now, like okay, maybe those ties from the last 2 weeks, two straight games at home, like maybe I'm not happy with them, but like I can at least live with them because we're in an okay position. But when we are where we are right now, it's like those ties had to be wins at home, and this game it's even more of a must win than those games were. And it's like yeah, no context is a tie good. I don't care if we're down like 6-0 in the 90th minute and we tie the game 6-6. The tie is just not good enough for me. And it's like, as funny as that sounds, but like, yeah, we really have to win this game. And I mean, it's not up to me. I don't think the players are listening to this. Can't really do anything tactically with this team, but yeah, they have to find a way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just everybody needs to step up in this game, and honestly, that would be kind of hilarious if we see a 6-6 draw for fucking Wednesday. It's just like I don't know, it's like that'd be fucking weird. But still, though, everybody needs to step up in this game. And once again, offense needs to step up because they've been lacking these past few games. I think really everybody needs to step up. Defensively, we need to get our shape together. Offense needs to start clicking in it a little bit more as well, and then yeah, I mean, obviously find a way to just prevent this Minnesota team from just running down in your house and getting those 3 points. Obviously, Reynoso is one of those guys who always kills the Galaxy as well. So it's like him back in the lineup and with Minnesota, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out and dominates as well. So it's like we got to find a way to contain him. We got to find a way to just completely shut down Minnesota.
Yeah, here's the hard thing this week with both of our opponents. Not only are we desperate, they're desperate too. Like these teams want to make the playoffs too. It's not only us who want to make it. Like Minnesota wants to maintain their eighth place playoff spot. They want to get further away from some of the teams at the bottom, so they don't really have to worry about like, oh, can these guys pass us? So they're gonna come in intense too. They're gonna come in ready to play. It's not like the Galaxy. Oh, if the Galaxy are intense, it's gonna be good enough. Like they're gonna come ready to play too. So we really have to be on it that day.
Yeah, that's why. Like everybody needs to step up and be better than this Minnesota team because you're right. I mean, and not only just these two games coming up this week, but really just everybody else for the rest of the schedule, like is going to find a way to either make it in the playoffs or keep their playoff spot alive. It's like it's really do or die at least for these next 7 games, and of course, like we really just can't afford to drop points, and especially at home, it's like we just really got to find a way to through it. And hopefully, like we get Douglas Costa back because obviously that's going to be a difference maker. If Puig was 100%, he's going to do good. And of course, if our defense finds a way and finds a shape, like I think we could compete against this Minnesota team. I think this Galaxy team has shown that they could compete. Now it's just a matter of execution and trying to get those 3 points at home.
I mean, look, I know it's kind of funny how it sounds because it's not a rivalry game, but like I think these two games are way more important than the El Trafico was because sure, the El Trafico is this big game kind of, but like we were never going to catch LAFC. Catching LAFC wasn't the goal. Giving LAFC points doesn't really do anything for us or do anything to those playoff teams below that we're trying to catch. So the fact that now we're actually playing teams that we need to get their spot from, like Austin, who's one spot ahead of us, Minnesota, who's in eighth place, it's like I said before, these are really pre sort of playoff matches where it's like whoever wins these games and keep in mind we played Minnesota twice this year. We haven't even played them yet, and they're in that spot, and we have a game in hand on them. So it's like whoever wins these games, it's gonna be the difference between who makes the playoffs and who's going home on decision day.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, this is the final stretch. I mean, this is really the point where we just got to get everything going, and just now we just got to just fire on all cylinders. And again, I think this Galaxy team can compete. I think they've had some things that can go right for them, but now it's like 100%. You have to be on your A game. No little mistakes, no individual mistakes either, and just I mean, honestly, they just almost got to play near perfect at this rate. They really do. Like I don't think there's really any other situation if you're less than Minnesota or if you play or whoever your opponent is. Really, it's like if you play like slightly below them, I think that's just really going to affect them. Like you have to be almost perfect at these rates, and it starts with Minnesota against on Wednesday.
Which is why it's super unlikely for us to probably make the playoffs. But when there's hope, I mean, you got to just keep on going and try to push it again. But like you said it yourself, like we have to be near perfect. And can this Galaxy team do it? I mean, I really don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's not much room for error anymore.
Yeah, I mean, again, this Galaxy team can compete. It's just a matter of execution now. And if they execute their games and as well as they want it to be, then I think we could have a chance. But of course, it's going to be very, very difficult going up against these teams. But anyways, any other points about Minnesota? You want to talk about Austin? No.
No, I mean you mentioned it yourself, like Emmanuel Reynoso. He's a very dangerous player from Minnesota. I think they have Timo Pukki too, who used to play in the Premier League, and yeah, they have some good guys. I mean, they're in eighth place right now, but they do have some good players, and especially Reynoso. Like we need to be super careful with him because he's given the Galaxy a lot of problems in the past. And you know, with the Galaxy, sometimes they leave other teams' best players wide open, or in the case of last game, just passing the ball when they're just standing in front of our goal. So I mean, don't
Right.
do any of that again. And it's like, yeah, we really need to be attentive on Reynoso and with this Galaxy team, it's been a problem in the past not learning from mistakes, but you can't afford to not learn from your mistakes this time. You have to get it together.
Definitely. They got to shut down Reynoso. They just have to. I mean, that's a guy who's just going to kill us, and he's has killed us before in games. And honestly, like that's going to be if you can shut him down, I think they have a chance. But that's not an easy thing to do. When is it ever easy to shut down Emmanuel Reynoso? Like that's not an easy task to do. So I agree with you on that as well. Um, but anyways, yeah, that's my last points on Minnesota. Minnesota. So let's talk about Austin real quick because that's going to be on Sunday away at Austin. And last time we faced Austin, we faced them at home. We won 2-0, but that's when our team at least was close to being 100%. And, but of course we still had the protests going on, things like that. So I guess mentally we weren't there, but at least physically with the bodies we had, we were close. Now it's a much different team. For really, I guess you could say both sides. It's a different team, but yeah, we go up against Austin on Sunday. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, it's pretty strange because I feel like with Austin, they're in a very similar situation to us this year, and it's pretty funny because we're only like 3 points apart in the standings. But you went into this year thinking like, all right, last year the LA Galaxy and Austin had pretty good years. They were in the top four of the Western Conference. Both won a playoff series. Austin won two playoff series. They were playing really good. Like they had these talented players. Driussi almost won MVP. The Galaxy had Ricky Pooch, who looked like he could be an MVP contender. And you're going into this year thinking like, wow, they have a lot of good players. They have a good squad. They have sort of a foundation. They're probably going to be like a top of the Western Conference. And this year for Austin, it's not it so far. They're not playing very well right now. They are really struggling right now, even more than we are. And they've lost four straight home games, which is very surprising considering how nice of a venue they have and that it's pretty much sold out every single game. And Austin is really struggling right now. And it's another one of those games where I think we have to go in there and take 3 points. We got 3 points from them earlier this year, which was our first win of the season. That was a big moment. I think we have to go back in there again and try to find a way to get another 3 points. And that would be another big moment for us if we can get that against Minnesota too. Get a 6 point week, and hopefully Austin loses Wednesday. Maybe we pass them, and who knows what can happen in the standings. But yeah, still traveling to Austin is never easy. They have the sellout, they have the fans, they still have some talented players, even though it's not really coming together right now. But yeah, it should be an interesting game, and hopefully we come out on top on those ones.
Yeah, I mean it's a different story from what it was last year. I mean, last year they were Western Conference finalists. It's like they were good. They were really a good team, and then now this year it's just been completely different. They're not out of it yet though, but still, yeah. I mean, we're in very similar situations, but almost different situations in a sense. Like I don't know if that really makes sense or not, but yeah, I mean, honestly, we got to go up against Austin, and it's not going to be easy. We know how their atmosphere is like too. They have a really good atmosphere, and yeah, I mean, honestly, Austin, they still got some good pieces as well, but again, it's the matter of the Galaxy, executing, doing what they can do right. I think they can go in and compete with Austin as well. And yeah, if we can compete, it's the matter of just executing and getting our chances and our opportunities right. And, if we can get 6 points out of this week, that's a massive W if we get both wins, but that's not going to be easy this week. And and again, I'm saying it like if we would win Minnesota, that's if we win Minnesota, right? It's like if we win Minnesota and if you win this one, that's going to be a big thing. And yeah, I mean, we just gotta get it for this game.
I mean, look, yeah, I think we really need 6 points. Like going into the week, we should be looking for 6 points. That should be the expectation and hope from the group. But at the bare minimum, at worst case scenario, I think we need 4 out of 6 points this week. Like we have to win at least one of the two games. That's a must. If you go like, let's say we go 0 for 2 this week, 0 wins, 2 losses, I think the season is officially done. I'm ready to say that if we go 0 and 2 this week.
Yeah, honestly, I would agree with you on that as well. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, if we don't get anything from these, and honestly, like I said, I think 4 points is the minimum that we should really get. Because even if you tie both games, it's like 2 points is really going to be a big deficit. And yeah, I mean, honestly, you have to get these 6 points at four at least. But again, that's a really big task you're asking for the Galaxy. And again, I think they're capable of competing for it, but at the same time, again, like I said, execution is what matters. But yeah. Anything else you want to say about Austin, or are we good about that?
No, I mean, just like last time at home, we got a big home win against them at Dignity Health Sports Park for our first win of the season. Now we have to go there and hopefully get another 3 points and creep up them in the standings, get past them.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But yeah, pretty busy week this week with Minnesota and Austin. And yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be it for the show. Can't thank you all enough for listening and watching. If you want to follow me on social media, follow me at Insider Galaxy. If you want to go follow the Galaxy Central, go follow him on IG. And yeah, can't thank you guys enough for tuning in as always. And yeah, anything you want to say to the fans before we go?
No, just we got to come ready to play this week. It's going to be a busy week. It's going to be a hard week, a competitive week against teams that also want to make the playoffs. We got to come ready.
Yeah, definitely. Got to come ready for this one. Especially with 7 games left, there's, we have got to get the most out of our opportunities. So hopefully it's a good week. Hopefully that the octopus back there is back to being a happy yellow octopus, not a set mad orange one. But yeah, let's go compete out there. And yeah, be a friend, tell a friend about the podcast, wherever, whenever you're listening to this podcast. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day, rest of your night. And yeah, let's go get it. G's up.
7 words.